Fallout from Facebook's Cambridge Analytica crisis continued today. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission is investigating the company's privacy practices that led to the leak of 50 million users' information. Investors are heading for the exits as Facebook's value sheds nearly $100 billion in a little over a week. And a new survey shows it could shed more users. The FTC will investigate if Facebook violated a privacy decree signed in 2011. It required Facebook to notify users and receive explicit permission before sharing personal data beyond their specified privacy settings. The FTC says it is fully and firmly committed to using all of its tools to protect the privacy of consumers. Foremost among these tools is enforcement action against companies that fail to honor their privacy promises. Nearly 3/4 of Canadian users surveyed claim they'll change how they use Facebook. Fewer than 3 in 10 say they'll take a business-as-usual approach. 1 in 10 say they plan to abandon the platform at least temporarily. 38% say their opinion of the social media giant has worsened. Overall, more respondents say they have a favorable opinion of Facebook. But Facebook fares considerably worse than Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. Facebook's stock, though, turned just positive at the end of the trading day after deep dips intraday. For more on Facebook's latest challenges, we're joined by Justin Hendricks in New York City. He's executive director of the NYC Media Lab. Justin, do you really believe those users who say, that's it, I'm done, or at least I'm going to change the way I use Facebook altogether?
Well, I think that the service is incredibly sticky. You're looking at something that people have invested a lot in. They've put a lot of their own information there. They've created a lot of connections with family and friends. A lot of people run their businesses on Facebook. So in the long run, I think this platform will likely weather this storm. The question is whether it will weather it in the same form and fashion as it was prior.
And I think that's one of the most interesting sort of things that will come of this is who should we be watching for what change? You'll watch users to see how they change their behavior, if they change it at all. We're obviously watching the company itself and what changes it might make. When you factor all this in, how important is it to watch how the advertisers change their behavior with the social media giant?
Well, we did see some advertisers today that decided to put some of their campaigns on hold. Pep Boys, which is auto parts store, I saw as one example of an advertiser that put its campaign on hold. But the group I'm watching closest is really government and regulators, and to see whether they are going to step up and really address this challenge.
And first and foremost among them, the FTC and its investigation. What could materially happen out of something like an FTC investigation into this?
Well, if they decide that Facebook has, violated the consent decree, the company could be open to, enormous fines. I think also that the FTC is well positioned to begin to exert other types of control over Facebook if the U.S. government decides that it's the right agency to do so. So we'll see if this administration, this government, want to move ahead and really answer some of those concerns that the public has that you detailed earlier in your lead-in. Are we going to really address these privacy questions? Are we going to answer this question about what is the right balance of power between Silicon Valley and government, between the citizens and their own data?
Right. I mean, the potential in the FTC investigation is $40,000 fine per violation. We're talking 50 million users, and I'm told at least multiple violations within each of those. So the price tag for that could be enormous. Is the price tag for, like, if they change the specifics of what they're offering advertisers in terms of Facebook saying we're no longer going to do as deep a dive or as granular a level of data dive when we're talking about what kind of data you can access on the users on Facebook's site, is that going to add up pretty quickly in terms of how much money Facebook can make off the users that are on the site?
Facebook has an incredible competitive advantage. It's very difficult to imagine, another entity stepping into Facebook's place or into Google's place and really, attacking their extraordinary position. We have seen their share slightly diminish with regard to, in particular, Amazon and Snap, two other platform competitors that want to eat more of that digital advertising pie. But when it comes down to it, Facebook's one of the greatest advertising machines ever built, and it's why it's so important that we can figure out this balance between privacy and Facebook making money.
Is there a profitable business model that does not, to the extent that we've seen, exploit users' data in a way that makes everybody so uncomfortable? Like, is there a way to be a social media giant, to be an advertiser, and yet keep some of the integrity of our own personal data?
I think that others have referred to this as the original sin of the internet, that we have built a set of business models into the way the internet operates, at least the advertising-driven internet. And we really need to rethink that at the moment. Is that the internet we want for the future? One that's driven by trading in on ever-increasing granularity on our personal data. The reality is in the future, these technologies are going to get even better. It's not just going to be about some of the data that Facebook has now on us, but you'll add in other types of data, biometric data, more psychological information about users. The sensors, the tools, the algorithms are being built right now to extract that information and to put it to use.
Indeed they are. Justin, thank you so much for this. Really appreciate your insight. Justin Hendricks, Executive Director of the NYC Media Lab.